So, like it cash, we don't have to check account, right?
As far as I know, do we have a checking account?
Oh, there's trouble. Hi, Sally.
Hello, my fellow Alaskans. How are you all doing out there today? If you are just joining us, please take a moment and like and share this. This is the first meeting today of Conservatives of Alaska. They are all joined together here, starting a brand new chapter, hoping to address all the concerns of Alaskans, of everybody, from young to old. You don't even have to be a conservative to be able to join this group. Please come on down if you're in the area. We're in Palmer at the Real Life Church right now. This is the very first action meeting to happen, and the room is packed. I will switch screens here real quick and so that you can see what is going on here. It is a beautiful day outside. Hopefully you guys are all enjoying the weather, getting your early Thanksgiving shopping done. And again, thank you guys all for being here today. Please make sure to like and share this video. You can find this currently on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and also on our website, all at Politadick, Politadick. And while you're at our website, please click that support button. It makes it possible to be able to live stream events like this to all of you. Thank you all again, once again, for being here today. Do not forget to like and share this video. I'm going to switch microphones here, and hopefully things will get a little bit louder than what they currently are right now.
Okay, folks, it's 11 o'clock. We got, sorry I don't have a microphone. Sorry, this is, it just is what it is. What's happening, for those that don't know what's going on right now, is they got this thing going on for Good Sam, giving out, turkey dinners and stuff like that to the folks that are in need. And so then the other building that we were going to be in, which was going to be a lot bigger, they just couldn't make it work. So thus we're in this situation here. But it is what it is. We're tough Alaskans, so we can handle it, right? Yeah. Right. Okay. So, Noel, you want to lead us in prayer? Stand up, please.
Thank you, Lord, for this opportunity to be together here, Lord. Not take this liberty for granted, Lord. Thank you for your goodness and your grace. In Jesus' name, amen.
Mr. Ward, could you lead us in this?
And Mr. Walton.
Walton, sorry.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. And I will say a little quick prayer. Lord, give me strength to get through this meeting, because there's a lot to it. Okay. So, first thing is, I want to go over some things we're doing from a paperwork standpoint that we have to do from the state and federal side, okay? So the first thing is our mission statement. So the first thing important is, everybody had a chance to read what I sent you all as far as the bylaws, mission statement, and incorporation. I'm seeing a lot of heads nodding. Okay. So does anybody have a problem with the mission statement as written? Okay, so this is what so we have it's broken down into two: vision and mission. And what I want to do is also at the start of each meeting is to read this every time, so everybody, we keep reminding ourselves what this organization is about. So vision is promote the growth of conservative truth and policy to voting age Alaskans. Mission, be a focal point for fair conservative debate, election issues, candidate information, and issues that affect the promotion of a just and responsive government. Increase knowledge of conservative values, policies, issues, and support through membership meetings and technological outreach to Alaskans. Advocating for responsible city, borough, state, and federal government to ensure our freedoms and liberties. Yes, sir.
One comment, and I'll preface it with I'm definitely in conservative mode, and I want to thank you for putting this together. We definitely need it. Rather than conservative opinion, I would say, or conservative talks, I would just say open talks and leave everything else the same. So open conversation rather than conservative conversation. That's just the first thing that comes to my mind when I hear you.
So be a focal point for fair
An open conversation.
and open debate.
Yes.
We're conservatives, we're open.
We're automatically open.
Yeah.
So although you should see some of the comments I've had on Facebook in the past by our own conservatives, and they're not exactly open.
Well, you could say open, like you said, open debate, but you could say open conversation and debate.
Well, that's true.
The name of the group kind of implies we're conservative, I think.
It does.
It's not outright stated.
All right.
But I think
would
you would be open, you want to be open to open debate is what I'm trying to say.
Would you like to put that into a motion?
I so moved, but I don't know what authority I would have to make a motion with this group since
So
I just
you're,
walked in.
well, we're all, if you're here to join our group.
I'm signing in right now.
Okay, then you're a member, so you have the ability to do so. So the motion is to change the focal point for fair conservative debate to be a focal point for fair and open conversation.
Yes.
All in favor? I need a second.
Second.
Okay, and discussion? Want to try and follow Robert's Rules of Order? Yes, sir.
My question is, for the most part, what have conservatives really conserved? Because we've been losing ground for a really long time.
Okay, so you're already losing ground if you switch it from conservative to open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stay firm.
It's sort of like the Republican Party hasn't represented the Republic for, what, 100 years?
Yeah.
Well, the problem there is,
Huh?
all the people are saying, I'm a conservative. They're not conservative.
Yeah.
You ask any Republican in the state house or senate, they all say they're conservative.
Yeah, most of them don't even know the Wikipedia or dictionary definition of conservative, let alone what it really means.
We're the conservatives. We're the actual conservatives.
Any other comments? Okay, so all in favor, yay? Raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So 14 nays. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, the motion stands.
So how's it gonna read now? I'm just confused. I
It'll
know
be a focal point for fair and open discussion, comma, election issues, candidate information, etc.
Yeah, because if we stifle speech, we're no better than the other side.
I agree. So, who wants to be a quick secretary for me during this? Somebody to write that down for me, like keep this moving. Anybody want to? I need help.
He who made the motion.
We want somebody with good handwriting that you can read.
I tell you what, give this to him and have him change that section. You got a pen on you?
No, but I'll use this one right here.
I call the fish buddy.
Change that section. Okay. All right. That's it. Okay. In order to do the articles of incorporation, everybody had a chance to read through that. I'm not going to bore you with all the legalese on that.
Those aren't for fall.
Huh?
Those aren't for his meeting, guys. I'll hand those out.
So, everybody had a chance to read that. Anybody have any concerns about the articles of incorporation? Yes, sir.
5.2, I think is it 5.2, we talk about the...
Mission statement? Yeah.
No, you talk...
We're going to change that to what he
Well,
did.
what's 5.2?
5.2 is purpose, promote the.
Do I get to sit in the gold chair now?
Okay, 2/3 membership renewal is the...
Oh, okay. That's in the bylaws.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So, what I need before I can really finalize the rules, the incorporation, we need a secretary. Here's the deal. Tom Wood was so kind. He's been my right-hand man when it comes down to communications and getting emails out and everything else. And he's totally willing to do that for another couple of years. But what we really need is a secretary. He stepped up the plate to be secretary until we can get this first meeting going over. Anybody want to take on that? Because you're a board member. I have to have a secretary in order to get a 501c status. And then C is just a matter of keeping track of what we're talking about. And I'm not looking for anything extensive. The meeting opened with the prayer, the Pledge of Allegiance. We talked. We read the mission statement, changed it, and made a minor change to it. Right on down the line. Just little bullet statements is all I'm really looking for.
I'll discuss with you afterwards about potentially doing that for you.
Okay.
So Tom's erstwhile secretary still. So we have a secretary.
I really need a secretary today, though. I need to get somebody to step up the plate today, because I got to get this, I got to fill this out and get it to the feds.
Okay, Mike, I'll do it.
Sally? You're a sweetheart.
I'm recording it, so.
So what we'll do is, Sally, I've got to make some changes, and I'll get with you. And then what we'll do is next meeting, once I got all this done, we'll get everybody's signature on that, so we can have that. So we can do that in December. Okay.
Mike, do we need to formally elect her or what?
Huh?
Do we need to formally elect her?
Oh, yeah. So
Does she have a piece of paper so she can, okay, never mind. Just
Okay.
one need.
So Sally has stepped up to the plate for secretary. Anybody else? Any other nominations for secretary?
Just make sure. There you go.
Going once, going twice, third, sold. So all in favor of Sally being the secretary? Nays? Sally is.
Yeah, well, no, that you are it.
I can't do both. Okay, so bylaws. Now's your shot.
5-2, you talk about the removal, 2/3 vote. That you don't say at the meeting, if it's proxy or anything like that, so you can deal with when the voting will be for removal. It just says.
From office, you mean?
Yeah, it says.
Oh,
it says
it's
something.
not 5, it's,
It's 5-2, I think.
5-2 is actually.
Any regular or special meeting?
Okay, no. Oh, 5-2, okay, 5, years, that's not 5-2. A term of office shall be 2 consecutive years. Any officer may be removed from office for cause at any regular or special meeting duly called for by that purpose by affirmative vote of 2/3 of the entire membership. That is what you're talking about.
The entire membership collectively or at the meeting?
Okay, so let me, we'll get to this one, because I want to kind of go through this. Okay, so, Article 1 is their name, our organization, location, which is the Concerned Conservatives of Alaska. It has been brought to this has been brought up to me by a couple different people, that they thought that we might be better served to be, instead of Concerned Conservatives of Alaska, it would be Concerned Citizens of Alaska. And the reasoning behind that is that when we send a letter or a support or an opposition of a bill, and people like Matt Clayman and Bryce Edgman see that, it's going to go in the trash can. So that's kind of the contention on that. My personal opinion on that is they knew back when we were the previous, that when we spoke, we were speaking from a very decided conservative, look. So when I talked to Matt Clayman, in one ear, out the other. When I talked to Bryce Edgman, in one ear, out the other. When I talked to Louis Stutz, it was in one ear, out the other. So they knew we were conservatives to begin with. So, do you want to change it to citizens, or you want to keep it conservatives?
Conservative. If they read it once, then they go, just like when it was AMAC, like, no, we're not gonna look at that anymore.
Right.
Whether it says conservative or,
The only caveat to that is what we just did with changing to open conversation rather than just conservative conversation.
I agree.
Agreed.
Why is that a contradiction? I mean,
Well, it's
shows
not,
that-
it's just another look at it, and part of it being that conservatives are the most open people, open to debate, and, if you've got a differing opinion, don't just say, well, it's bad and you're wrong.
Yep.
Tell me why. Convince me why your point of view is better.
That's why it should
And
stay.
that's why we need the back and forth open.
Well, yeah, I agree.
If we're doing, like you say, sending things to legislation, are we going to be any farther ahead if we just said concerned citizens?
Your point is very well taken, and I think it should be considered more. You're right. They see something from the conservatives, concerned conservatives, they're not even going to look at it. It's just going to go in the garbage. It's not going to get any consideration. There's no question that if you can get them to read it, they're going to know it's a conservative view. But if you can get them to read it from concerned citizens, then I think it will add more credence to it. And it's, sort of like labeling the Inflation Reduction Act and doing a switcheroo on them. But it gets them to read it. I think it's a good point.
I like the fact that we can say you won't talk with us. I mean, it shows them it shows everybody who they are. Shows them exactly who and what they are. Why do we have to acquiesce and say, oh, don't tell them we're conservative?
Right.
Even though they can read it and see we are, but we don't want to say it or point it out. That way they'll talk to us. I like the fact that it forces them to say no.
You'll get support. You'll get support from other concerned citizens. What you're saying, everybody will know? Nobody will know. Okay? What happens down there, nobody knows about it. Nobody sees it. Everybody's out taking their kids to a soccer meeting or going to a PTA meeting. They don't know what's going on. You need to have things labeled so that everybody in the state, concerned citizens, will be behind it and at least give it some kind of look at rather than ignoring it right off the bat.
Yeah, the problem that we have, folks, I guess everybody in this room is either Republican or conservative in their mindset. I'd bet about everybody in here. What we have done, starting with the Republican Party in general, and now the conservative movement, we've compromised ourselves out of existence.
Exactly.
That's got to end, and it ends with this little core of people here.
Yeah.
If we can't stand up and proudly say, I'm a conservative, what's left? Where are the people going to go to?
Good point.
We're the last refuge. We got to stand our ground.
Gentleman back.
I don't want to speak out of turn, I just got here, but I think it's important. We want to grow the organization, right?
Right.
Speaking as a younger person, anyone of my age group that hears, most people that hear conservative, they immediately turn off their ears because they're so brainwashed. So if you're interested in bringing more people into the fold, I think as conservative as I am, I think we need to be the concerned citizens. At least then people can come and hear what we have to say. Because people, they turn their ears off. They're brainwashed, they won't hear.
I can name several.
I agree with the gentleman over there, especially with the younger crowd. As you guys know, I'm Dana, right? So here's my view on this. The concerned citizens will open up to independence, and what we could do in an argument is stand fast on our conservative principles and push that to the argument by sympathizing. So computational politics is a big difference, right? We push it in the message, not in the title. So we open up the titles to be open, right? Not conservative, just citizens. That brings in other people to view our message, and if our message is on key, that will attract them into the movement.
Sir, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I agree with him. I agree with what he's saying about the younger generations. I also agree with what he's saying. I mean, if you don't want to open it up too far, but you want to have like a set of values and all that kind of stuff that you can hold the message to, but the title can change.
Just so everybody knows, there's 2 seats over here. People are welcome to come over and take them.
We're already debating on what we should call ourselves and what we should say, how we should say it. And we're supposedly conservatives and Republicans for free speech. And that's all we wanted to do is say, hey, we're concerned conservatives. Come join us and we'll talk about it. But we can't do that. We got to acquiesce and say, no, we're citizens. Who knows what we are? It's all okay. Open it up. And we never said that you couldn't come and just talk to us.
You know, concerned citizens is a very popular term. I'm wondering if someone already has that name.
It's popular
right.
because it's weak.
I'll bet,
There's the problem.
and I'll add to that too. How many times we heard the left use, citizens?
Yeah, yeah.
That's how they hide it.
Because they hide their liberal.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Who are we?
If I'm looking for an organization, all I see is concerned citizens, I'm turning it off. I'm not going any farther. If I see conservative, since 1964, when I wrote a speech in 8th grade supporting Barry Goldwater, that's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for concern, I'm looking for conservative.
Just kind of one point, because it goes with both sides of it, and I agree with the gentleman here, we do need to hold our ground. For the last year or so, I've been doing this also on social media and stuff like that, as well as in person. Optics is very, very key in this world right now. And as he was saying, the younger generation, I've been engaging Gen X, it's been an interesting ordeal. That's just putting it mildly. However, the optics have to be there because there are trigger words. I hate that term, I really do, but it's true. There is trigger words and somebody will see it, and it doesn't, because of the way they're brought up, the way they are indoctrinated now in school and in politics and everything like that. They will shut off and not listen. It doesn't matter what the message is. You could be 100% in agreement with somebody, but they're going to completely disagree with you just on the optics because, oh, you're from this side or you're from that side or whatever. There is a fine balance, and that has to be matched. So yes, wording is very critical for optics.
Okay, so other people that stab had, okay.
Yeah. So, again, I agree with both sides, but I also agree that we should not change from conservatives of Alaska. I agree, we should stand proud and firm on that, but it doesn't mean that we aren't interested in open-minded, concerned citizens and want them to be, part of the organization or hear our message. And that could simply be added to the purpose. I mean, why can't it be the concerned conservatives of Alaska and open-minded citizens or open-minded citizens? Let it know that it's, hey, you're welcome. We want you to hear our message, and we want to hear what you have to say.
Good point. Yep, good point.
Tagging on to what Jerry said earlier, sooner or later, this group's going to want to maybe do some advertising to try to get this whole ranked choice voting taken care of and rid of. You'll get people to, you do some advertising and it says it's sponsored by concerned citizens versus sponsored by conservatives. And I'm not saying compromise. I'm not saying give in. But if you do some advertising that's from concerned citizens, you're going to get the whole of Alaska looking at it rather than instantly saying, oh, conservatives, we don't, screw that.
Can somebody Google, is there a concerned citizens of Alaska? See if there's a organization that's named by that. Let me kind of, yes, Edna.
Mike, what you have to do is go on the state of Alaska under the Commerce Department to see if that name is taken and I don't know if you've even
Well,
checked.
yeah, that's why
Okay.
this name is good, it's with the state of Alaska.
Yeah.
Let me,
So somebody, that's where they need to go.
let me kind of answer one of the questions that was, comments that was made about advertising.
It's taken forever.
I put in an article in the People's Paper, and I did a radio ad with them as well, and I think there was another place I did it as well, where I said this organization is a conservative organization that is, but you don't have to be a Republican, you don't have to be a Libertarian. You know, I really kind of like, I said, okay, so if you're, no, I think the way I put it was, if you're a Republican, if you're a Libertarian, if you're a Tulsi Gabbard Blue Dog Democrat, if you're somebody that values freedom and family and liberty, come join us.
Mike?
And look at the crowd we've got, and I've gotten a lot of responses back from that on that. So it's not. And I really, because I've seen enough other organizations using that word citizens, and it turns out that they're hiding behind that word.
Amen.
And this is me. I mean, I'm just one voting member in this bunch, but I'm in total agreement that if we're conservatives, that we're proud to plant that flag.
Amen.
And say we're conservatives, and if the people that want to come and listen to us, back when the other organization that shall not be named, one of their biggest fears was promoting, advertising, because they were afraid that liberals were going to come into our meeting and disrupt it. That's what they were afraid of. And so, and my answer back to them was, well, wait a minute. A, number one, we're Alaskans, and we don't put up with that garbage. But B, so if they show up and they're disruptive, I got a 6'6" master at arms that will show them the door. Don't have a problem with that. So if we advertise, our meeting as Concerned Conservatives of Alaska, and the way I've been doing this is kind of open on that, and we get a bunch of liberals showing up and want to be disruptive. There's the door, and it will be removed. Because I'm not going to put up with angry people yelling and shouting as we know they can do. But if you're coming in here to have a voice and to make comments in logical and respectful manner, as been stated right here. I mean, this is kind of a somewhat thorny topic. I agree, but I think but if we can stand for those, because what's one of the conservative values? To be a citizen. What is a citizen? Be an American, right? So. Is there anything else that has?
There's a gazillion concerned citizens of Alaska groups. Concerned of the Matsu, concerned of Eagle River, concerned.
So that name is.
So maybe we need to, let me look up the other one here.
A lot of them are dissolved, but they
still have the name.
They have the name.
Yes, sir.
You know, the reason the left has been so successful is being subversive. I'm not saying that we need to be subversive, but look at the Matsu Health Foundation. Oh, everybody likes health, right? But they have children's organizations, what's it called? Rock Matsu. And they're pushing transgenderism and all of these communist ideologies on the kids. But you hear, oh, it's a health foundation. Everybody likes health, right? We don't need to call ourselves conservative because this is America and our values are inherently conservative. We're abiding by the Constitution. Most people agree with what we think. They've just been brainwashed. They need an opportunity to hear our thoughts. That's why they're so anti-free speech. Their ideas don't hold up.
Yeah, I want to get to the people that haven't said anything either.
Well, yeah.
Go ahead,
We've
Julie.
already been in the Watchmen. We're in there as Concerned Conservatives of Alaska, set to launch November 19th. We're there. The name is out there already.
I think it's important that we call ourselves what we are, and that it's not any question. What's most important is make sure that the message that we put out is a right message, one of truth and what we want it to be. If the message is good, it doesn't matter who's out there. If it's good, they'll come to it.
Amy, you want to call the question?
Not yet.
Call the question,
Wait.
so, yes ma'am.
He still has a comment.
Oh, yeah.
So the other side of this is that because I know about you and some of these other people that have been here, I've seen the lighthouse and the light is on and it's dark. And now if we change this from conservative, now you're putting the fog up. And if I'm looking, I'm like, where's the beacon? And worse, you're gonna turn the light out. So now I'm gonna go look for somewhere
So
else.
the question's been called. All those in favor want to change it to concerned citizens of Alaska?
There's too many of them.
Raise your hands.
Necessarily that name.
Citizens?
Yeah, not necessarily.
Actually,
All those, then, okay,
I got one statement on that real quick. So actually, I did look up the business licenses through Alaska. There is no, there active licenses now, there is no business of concerned citizens of Alaska, and there's also no title of conservatives of Alaska, so. both of
we
them-
are in there for concerned citizens.
It's not showing up then,
But
something's, and then something's
Yeah,
wrong with the database.
yeah.
I'm just letting you know.
So all those in favor to
That's not-
maintain the name
that's not
concerned
consistent.
conservatives of Alaska?
It's gonna retain, yes.
Retain?
Okay, unanimous, okay.
See now how good that open speech did though? Everybody got to voice how they felt and see the other side.
Okay, Article 3, membership meetings and dues. All members shall complete an application for membership to the corporation and pay all dues payable to in connection with each membership. There will, 3.2, it says there shall be the following classes of membership: individual or household or complementary. So the question, I guess the question there is, do we want to pay dues? Or do we want to, like we have in the past, pass an envelope and put money in the envelope? Yes, sir.
Mike, you and I have had this conversation before. I believe a modest membership fee gives me no doubt that I'm a member. If I pay you, let's say $10 a year, then I know that I'm a member of this organization. It takes a lot of funds to run political organizations. I see a lot of political activists in here, and I'm hoping I'm seeing a lot of future political activists. It takes a lot of money. This is a good way to start, but more importantly, I feel like if I pay dues, then I know for a fact that I am a member. And that's a modest amount of money for me to step forth and say, yes, I support this organization. So that's my feeling on membership.
I got a question for you,
Yes,
because
sir.
this was, I brought this up to Terry. Julie's gonna have to keep track of who all.
I want to keep
Okay,
track of
all right,
all.
that's cool, that's cool. So there is a paper trail aspect to this. The other aspect was that since we are being a 501c4, which is that we're eventually going to be, that I've had several people say, well, I don't want my name as a membership because the feds are going to see that membership and come after me. The other option of this too is, since we're talking about individual or complementary, what this person I was talking to was thinking is instead of being a due payer, that when we pass the envelope, you just fill out, you throw your money into there, and it would be a complimentary.
Both ways.
We could do,
You know the organizations that I'm involved in.
and even if you're dues payers, as we pass the envelope around to beef up the financial coffers to do what we need to be doing.
Split the pot.
We can, things like that. So, yes ma'am.
Oh, it was just a word when you were reading that, because I read through the documents online. You said this is a corporation?
Yes, we are a
As opposed to-
non-profit corp.
As
Not-
opposed to
yeah,
an
not-
association or organization, we are a corporation.
That's what the states, that's what the states came up with. Is
All
that we're
nonprofits
a-
are corporations for the most part.
Yeah, non-profit corporation.
That's the only way you can get like IRS designation.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
So, I guess the question I've got is on this, because we could do, So okay, so how many here, okay, so trying to follow Robert's rules of order here a little bit. So Article 3, Section 1 says, all members shall complete an application for membership to the corporation and shall pay all dues payable in connection with such membership. So that then, we going to have to do a application? Or is it going to be as you come in and sign in, are you now a member? How do we go about that? Because I got to follow the letter of this if we do that. Yes, sir.
By the way you have that set up and worded, that means you would actually have to physically fill out an application, whether it's just a little 3x5 card, say, here's my name, here's my dues, yes, I want to be a member. Otherwise, just having a sign-in sheet, you can get in a real sticky situation really quick with that, because somebody will go, well, I didn't want to sign up, I was just doing, you had a sign-in sheet of who was here, for whatever, so.
You put a check mark on the end of the row and say initial if you want to be a member.
Yeah.
You just acknowledge
Our
that that's what you want to do.
Because you're the one that's going to be handling a lot of that aspect.
Well,
How do you want it?
if they want to be a member, I'd like to know they want to be a member and pay like $50 a year or something to be a member.
We like 10 better.
Sorry about How much did you pay into AMAC? $13 a year, I believe.
16.
It was more than that, so. But I think we need to know who our members are so we can communicate with our members. But if they just want to come and listen, then they don't need to be a member. We can have like that sign-in sheet for non-members.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And realistically, you let me walk in the door and sign a sign-up sheet and vote on stuff.
Right.
I don't see where you should be doing that.
You should be a member to have a vote.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, keeping track of your membership's the key, right?
Yes.
So like having the email and phone number, you could reach out and let people know what's going on, or if you need people's opinions, or you want them to reach out to a legislative member or something like that, then like, yeah, that's where all your value of your group comes from, is the information and like the database that you build.
And I also think that membership, the bigger your membership is, the more, I think the more value you have in your corporation, because if you don't have a lot of members, people are going to be concerned why that's happening. And if you find a value in this, you're going to want to be a member and you're going to want to pay.
Yeah.
I was just in business too.
When you write your legislatures or whatever as in the name of the organization, and you say we're 10 zillion members strong, it has a lot more influence than when you don't say that.
So,
Having been active in the Valley Board of Realtors for a lot of years and part of their RPAC committee, when you write a letter from a group of 100 people, when it gets down to Juneau, guess what? That's one letter. You want to get a hold of your members and have all 100 of them send out letters. And again, this membership thing is a great thing. You should be doing more of it.
okay, so
You should really ask for a motion for the membership.
Right.
You should probably make a motion. And so this conversation should be on the floor after a motion, and then.
And the only question I would have, Julie, would you be willing to do a application form? Would you be just like a one-pager, maybe a couple paragraphs, or whatever?
Something real simple that you.
Something really simple that when people come in and if they're in, so this wouldn't happen until December, but the next meeting, everybody that wants to be a member would take it, fill it out, give you because we still got to talk dues, but whatever that dues is going to end up being, and then that way we would have it, and then you develop that list from there. Would you be willing to do that?
I'm not a real big computer person, but I could probably put a 3 or 4 line application
Okay.
together on it.
Any other
But
comments?
we need to agree on a fee.
Right, well, yeah, we still have, that's in the next, that's coming up. Yes, sir.
If there's gonna be any kind of membership list on any kind of computer, the security of that needs to be the utmost priority.
Yes.
Because they will the left will get on there and they will send out everybody's addresses. Now, it's not likely that anything will come of that here in Alaska, thank God we're armed. But nevertheless, it's a problem.
Well, that would be something that it would be on a personal computer.
Yeah, it'd be on my personal.
And that would be it. It wouldn't be something that would be on a website. We don't even have a website yet. Yes, Bill.
Yeah, just so you know, anybody, I'm gonna create a database from today's meeting, so anybody that's, I will have a very large start for you. And I can just email that to you guys, and you guys already have that started. So anybody that signs up with me today, I will already have that in a database for you, and you can just build off of that.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Just 2 points. If we have...
I'm sorry. Hey, I want to hear what he's having to say. Order.
Rank choice specific, but like...
Okay, just 2 points. If we have a membership list someplace, even if it's on your personal computer, if that computer is attached to the internet, somebody can get it. Okay?
Right.
My work computer that I work on is not attached to the internet. I do that deliberately because nobody can get to it that way.
Right.
But if you have a list on a computer that's attached to the internet, it can be gotten to. Okay? And the hackers will do it.
If you do it as a
What's that?
private.
Is your drive encrypted?
Yes.
Yeah, but see, you're registered with the state. You guys gotta be careful. You're registered with the state. And if you're saying that in your bylaws, then I don't know what kind of power there could be to ask for that membership list. Because that's public information, what you're going over right now. And that will be on the website in the Department of Commerce. So, I don't know if anybody's in here an attorney, but I don't know, I think you should get some legal advice before you proceed too far. Because the other thing is, if you are gonna start writing letters to the legislature and lobby, then you're gonna come under APOC, and you're gonna have to register as a lobbyist, and on and on and on and on and on. So, just be prepared. And I see Ryan shaking his head, and he knows.
So from by all means, correct me if I'm wrong, and you would be able to, I'm sure Ryan would be able to. My understanding of to be a lobbyist going down to Juneau is you have to, there's certain criteria for doing that, but if we're just going down and I go, because previously I was going down and saying I'm president of, this chapter.
You're limited to the number of hours you can speak to a representative.
So as long as we stay below that.
And you keep track of it, but somebody can still challenge it.
Okay.
Does that happen to each individual member, or just
Yeah.
somebody who's representing the group? Because I can go down there as me, right?
You can go down there as you, but you cannot, there's a limitation on how many legislators and how many minutes you can talk to them, or otherwise you have to register as a lobbyist. And then your stuff goes on APOC, and then that makes it even more public.
Yeah,
Ryan
that's
is
okay.
shaking his head.
to do that.
Yeah, so I mean, it's more than just how we feel here. There's some ramifications out there.
Can I ask a question? Is this meeting now being live streamed?
Nope. Yes.
Okay, I came in late, but that should be, everybody should be aware that you are being live streamed.
I forgot, we should have.
Just common courtesy.
And we're live streaming.
I'm not leaving because of that. I just walked in the door. I came here specifically to work on this, getting the ranked choice voting
Yeah,
removed.
that's right.
Obviously, this group is going to be heading in that direction.
Yes.
No,
And
that's
I'm
different
gonna sign.
different groups, so you need to make sure that you get this signed before you leave. So I'm gonna be doing a presentation here in a minute regarding that specific, but they have no relation whatsoever to each other.
Oh, so it's separate.
Correctly.
I'm still going to join the group. I want to sign that, but I really need to go.
That's fine, I'll bring you right over to you.
Okay.
These people are for ranked choice voting here.
If you're here just, for that, see Phil on that.
I mean, it seems like an organizational meeting for your group, which is great. You need to do this, but not with me.
So,
Mike.
Yeah.
But I am gonna be a member.
If we're doing, we've all been watching lately how the Department of Justice has been weaponizing everything and going against and going after anyone who doesn't agree with the administration's bend on things. And my only hesitation is like the thing with the computer. If you have it, have the list on the computer, which you makes sense to do, rather than hand emailing every single person, then you need to be able to send it out as a block on your email list for your organization. I mean, that only makes sense. But there again, we all need to be aware of what the ramifications can be on how local you are and how much trouble you're going to get in if you catch someone's eye. And I think we need to stand together on this. Hopefully in the near future, you know, we'll have the reins back and can turn justice back to justice instead of what it's doing now. But we all need to be aware of what we're stepping into. And I'm not trying to get people to step back, because it's something we need to do, and we need to stand up and be able to speak our mind and wake people up and say, look, you know, you need to understand what's going on in the world, and you need to have a voice and speak your mind. You don't need to be just parroting everything else. But we all need to be cautious of that, because we know it's out there. And the internet thing is a big deal.
Mike, so we want, I guess it kind of boils down to, I mean, maybe what I'm saying doesn't work, let me know, you think?
I don't know all of it, but
I know,
do
but
know enough of something.
yeah,
When you get close to the creek
yeah, you
bed,
got a
it's
lot
very
more.
easy to slide in.
You got a lot more knowledge than I do on this. Okay, so if we just took out 3.1 and we took out 3.2, which is the following classes of membership, and 3.3 of qualifications of members, individual members, if we just took out that whole, if we took out membership meetings and dues, and we just took that completely out, and we just met as a group, and we sign in, because when you sign in, what we've done in the past is Tom gets that, he puts it, he's got a email listing. It's like we got 400 some odd people on that email list that we send out. We got an upcoming meeting. That's how most people know about these meetings coming up. So that's just going to grow exponentially. That's technically not a member. It's just that these are people that have been to meetings, who want to be part of this, who want to get that information flow. So there's not really a membership. That said, if I go to Juneau, or I'm on the phone on a committee hearing, and as I say, my name is Mike Coons, I'm president of the Concerned Conservatives of Alaska, 500 members strong, and we don't have a quote-unquote member list, other than the fact that I know that our email list is 500. Is that the same?
No. You're not members?
Not at all. No, you're not a member.
Okay.
There's nobody's got a commitment if they're not signed up for something.
Exactly.
You gotta be signed up, and I think you need to consider having added into whatever the application is, that I agree with the mission statement, or somehow define, say, I am committed conservative, or anybody could come in, you know, and dilute.
I donated $10 to the cause.
There's,
if you got a web page or something like that,
in the future,
you might have, instead of members, you might have a number of followers. And followers, like, you know, we had an organization, we didn't have many members, but we had like 1,500 followers, because they were always following what the information was being put out and stuff.
How committed are they?
And yeah, they're probably not as committed. I'm just wondering, and it might be a stupid question, you know.
There's no stupid question.
And I don't want to throw a wrench in the works, but is there a reason why we want to become, conform to the state type regulations and become a 501c3 state organization? Is that totally necessary, or?
The answer to that, and this is what I've been told, actually, I actually went through a lawyer in order to help us with some of this stuff, is that if we do that, let's just say we're a group that meets every time, and we pass the envelope around so we can do different things like we've done in the past. And somebody says, I never, that money got, used wrong or whatever. Then it's on every board member. We're personally responsible, and we can be personally sued as a person.
We can get insurance for that.
Yeah, right. I don't want to spend that kind of money. Whereas with being a 501c4, we've got that. There is that protection from that, because we now have a treasurer that everything's annotated and everything's documented, and that way if anybody were to try to say anything like that, it's like, here's the books. So that's been, because I was kind of thinking the same thing. Why go through the 501c4 and all this other good stuff? Because it was a real headache. It took me almost like 3 weeks to finally figure it out. But that was kind of because I was like looking the same way, but then when I got, I could end up being held personally responsible for tens of thousands of dollars of a lawsuit or something. My wife would go, no, you're not doing this. So,
folks, a couple hundred years ago, some guys sat down with a piece of paper and signed their names to a document that put their heads in a noose because they wanted something better. If we're going to be the core of a movement to fix this state, we've got to be committed. I can speak for myself here. I've always been proud to be the first guy in line to hang. If that's what it's got to be, then so be it. But if we're here to just feel good about ourselves, let's just leave. We're just wasting our time. If we're here to make a difference, we've got to be committed. What's going on right now? APOC, the whole setup, they're there to scare you away from doing this. I'm dealing with APOC right now because I filed late on one of my things when I ran for governor. So I'm perfectly fine with that. I faced them, and they're being very helpful with. The bottom line is, it is set up to scare you away.
Right.
That's what they're doing, and we're agreeing with them. We've got to stand firm. Anybody here don't have $10 for a membership, let me know, because all I have is 20s. I'll kick in for you.
Well, that's so in order on that. Nobody's paid membership, so we're all operating as non-members.
right. So, because this the whole idea is to get this thing done. So, question. I'll ask the question. All members shall complete an application for membership. The corporation shall pay all dues payable in connection with such membership. All yea? Yes. Nays? Yeas have it. There shall be the following classes of membership: individual or household, and complementary. Do you want what that kind of to me is? Like we got Bert here or Politadick here that's live streaming this. Eventually, hopefully within the next couple months, we're going to either be Zoom or go to meeting. So we're going to have people that are going to be from the outside watching and looking in and want to be members, but they're not going to be unless they ask for it. We wouldn't be sending them a member application. So they can be considered complimentary, or do we even need a complimentary, just individual? Yes, ma'am.
I worked in 501c4 for 10 years in fisheries, and we were a membership organization, and we had different levels, and it just meant that you could vote, you were be able to involve yourself in certain levels of the foundation. So that could be considered, and it was different prices too, different amounts of money, and you had voting rights or whatever. So that's something to consider.
Yeah, the other thing I'm kind of worrying about is if we do, let's say we got 100 people on Zoom or go to meeting, and we have to raise a question for a vote. that's gotta be a real mess.
Well, you only want members can vote. Other people can
Right.
listen in. I mean, people were invited into our meetings, but only members could vote.
Right.
So that's another reason for membership. And then, of course, voting for the board and that sort of thing. So, and people that were allowed.
Yes, Carol?
And how do you keep track of that?
Yeah.
How do you keep track who's a member and who's not a member?
Just have a database.
Well, we would have this letter that, this membership.
You have a
Because there are
database.
people walking into our meeting who are not members, and they're going to be voting, and they're not probably eligible to vote. And how do we keep track of that?
Well, you can ask before you take a vote. You still have trust.
Yes, you point out that
Talking about
people who
the
are
member.
guests and are not members cannot vote in this. And if they're so dishonest that they go ahead and vote anyway, if it's something that you're worried about, then you take a named vote and do a paper ballot signed or something along those lines, so you know who voted. Otherwise, most things, you really don't care. If you got two people there that are going to say, oh yeah, and vote when they're not members, it doesn't usually make it a big deal. If it is a big deal, then you can take measures. I'd like to bring up one thing I don't hear that could be looked at later, and that is one thing with voting we want to put in now. We fought through this for decades now at our community council. I would hardly recommend voting in present at the meeting only.
That's in
No
here too.
remote, no, well, I'm going to be out fishing or I'm going to be on vacation. Too bad. If you care enough, be there.
Yeah, and that's future in the bylaws.
It's a terrible headache.
Yes.
On the household membership, I assume that means more than one person? So
Or we could remove household.
And that's why I'm bringing it up, is
Yeah.
if it's more than one person, how many of them get to vote?
All
$10
small kids.
membership, but are both, or all, however many you got.
Or we just
And there's no definition of what the household
Yeah, we just
is
remove
in
it.
here.
We just strike through membership household.
Yeah.
We just strike through household.
Or at least give definition of what.
Everybody's good on just striking through the household, to make it individual?
Yes.
Any discussion or, yes ma'am?
Well, I had two comments. One was, and yeah, you struck a note bringing up our founding fathers. The idea that the mess that this country is in right now is because how many non-citizens are voting. So they're not members of the American citizenry, and they should not be making decisions on how our government is run or who runs it. We need to isolate our voting to members. If new people want to come in and join that day, then that's fine. But I really think on getting how you know if they're a member or not is when we're going to have issues that are going to be up for a vote during that thing, or we expect we are, then maybe we should have basically a ballot. It could just be kind of a plain one, and as you come in, you check in as your member. You know, you look on the list, okay, there's your name, you know, you're here, you're a member, so here's your ballot. And then during the course of the meeting, we could do secret ballots. In fact, one of the ideas is if we're going to have like 5 or 6 different things going on, what we can do is just have blank ones made up that are perforated. You can just rip them off, so you have tags, and on it you write down what the bill number is or what the discussion is. Okay, discussion is, are we going to yay or nay on this? And then you just mark the yay or the nay, and then that goes. So you don't have to stand up in front of everybody and say, yes, this is what I want, but you know, so you could do it secret ballot if you want. Otherwise, just having a method of identifying a member when they come in to be able to vote and stuff.
And what I'm kind of thinking, and on that line, when we have our sign-in sheet, we have, I don't know how much of a headache it would be, but we could have a sign-in sheet for members, and then for non-members, if a person
Yes.
comes in and they're a non-member.
Easy enough to do.
Yeah, just a block you check.
Yeah.
Yeah, or just a block be checked, you know, a member or not, and then that way, yeah. So you want, well, I guess kind of going back to the question, do we want to just strike through household,
Yes.
make it
Yes.
individual? And what do we want to do with as far as complimentary? Do we
Keep
want
the
it-
complimentary, Mike. I would suggest that. I mean, some of us
Yes.
probably have grandkids that are just about ready to come to voting age, and, you know, we want them to be able to stand proud with us, learn the conservative ways and the true meaning of democracy. They should be able to be a member.
Okay, complimentary.
Takes me
Because
back
the
to-
complimentary member doesn't vote, so that's
Right.
great. That's the area down the line.
Just
Okay.
a side note, though,
Yeah.
the one pet peeve I keep hearing, it's not just here, it's everywhere, we're a republic, not democracy.
Right.
We need to get the language right. Because
Exactly.
everybody's like, oh, we're a democracy. No, we're not.
No, we're not.
We are a constitutional republic
True enough. Fair enough.
with a democratically elected representation that's supposed to do our will, even though they don't, but that's besides the point.
Okay,
So,
so
verbiage is very key.
the question is then, 3.2, there shall be following classes of membership, individual, complimentary. All yays?
Yeah.
Nays? Okay. Qualifications of members, 3.3. Individual members, any person who has an active interest in the mission on CCA and who agrees to uphold the objectives of the corporation shall be eligible to apply for individual membership in this corporation. Application shall be made to the membership chairman, accompanied by payment of the required dues for each membership according to the schedule listed herein for the various classes of memberships. The concerned conservatives of Alaska shall not permit conservatives of Alaska shall not permit in their conduct of club affairs any restriction or limitation whatsoever based upon race, color, creed, gender, and national origin or employment status.
I'm
Carol.
sorry, but I'm going to go back to the membership.
Okay,
I assume that we want this organization to spread throughout the state
Right.
as best we can, which means we're going to have a large majority of people going to be online. And how are we going to allow the people who are not here physically, who are members, to vote on issues?
No.
If you're gonna Zoom a meeting, I'm on a board already, and I'm not gonna drive clear out to Big Lake for a meeting once a month in the middle of winter. We Zoom the meetings, I can vote from home, I can watch the meeting, I'm an active voting member. If that's what we need to do, if we're gonna branch out, why do Zoom at all if you're not gonna do it?
and we would have to have a means of knowing that those people on that Zoom are members or not.
Well,
And that's-
you do know, yeah,
There's
they gotta be
two ways.
members.
There's still, it's actually, I'm answering both your guys' questions. So with Zoom and platforms like that, there are ways to send out links that you can participate, you can listen, but you can also send out the link just to the board member or the paid due members that can vote.
That's true.
And then when there is a vote, all you do is pay attention to what side it actually, if it's your members that are your due paying members, they can vote and they can say yay, nay, whatever. The other group, it doesn't matter if they do it or not because they're not participating. You can completely ignore that group during that time period.
And that's a detail,
in those meetings.
and that's a detail that can be set up in the future. We'd have to figure out how to do it now.
Yes,
There are means.
If anyone voting would have to be maintaining a presence at the meeting. That means you can't write in and mail something and it'll be there in 2 weeks. But if you're on Zoom, you're maintaining a presence at the meeting.
Right.
And then you could vote
Yeah.
without further hassles.
All right, okay. So under qualifications of members for individual members that I just read, everybody good with that?
Could you read it one more time?
Okay. Individual members are any person who has an active interest in the mission on CCA and who agrees to uphold the objectives of this corporation shall be eligible to apply for individual membership in this corporation. So I'm kind of thinking when we do that membership application, there's the mission statement, they're saying that they go along with that. Application shall be made to the membership chairman, accompanied by payment of the required dues for each, which would be treasurer. The concerned conservatives of Alaska shall not permit in the conduct of club affairs any restriction or limitations based whatsoever upon race, color, creed, gender, and national origin or employment status.
What about adding party affiliation?
Under that last sentence?
Remember this? Just throwing it out there.
Nah.
So,
This follows the state constitution
Okay.
and the US Constitution, so. Anybody have any heartburn? Yes, sir.
I'm just thinking, there ought to be, because I'm just thinking about how people can subvert things, okay? There ought to be some measure in there, I'm not sure how you word it, for being able to expel members.
Oh, that comes up too.
Oh, that comes up
That-
too?
that-
I
that's-
didn't remember seeing it.
Yeah, I'm sure there is.
Okay.
So everybody, yay on the 3.3 qualification of individual members?
Yeas?
Nays? Okay, complimentary members. From time to time, the corporation may give complimentary members to cooperating persons. No dues shall be assessed for this category of membership. A person receiving a complimentary membership shall have no right to vote, but shall be on the mailing list. Yes, sir.
This would be, I'm encouraging it, this would be excellent for politicians, basically. Say we want to give the mayor of the borough want her to know what we're up to without her having to come to every meeting and be involved. And as the mayor, she probably wouldn't want to vote on things and be incorporated in that way. Same thing, governor or anybody else that might be interested. As long, and they can always decline it if they say, well, that'd present problems for me politically. It's too.
Or might be considered a conflict of interest or
Yes.
whatever.
They can always decline it if they don't like it.
Okay.
What do you think?
But being on the mailing list for, especially for politicians, then maybe they would get a sense of,
Oh yeah, I got their mailing list.
but I mean, and we can offer them complimentary membership and say, look, we'll keep you informed so that you know how this plethora of Alaska citizens feel about things.
Okay, so any further discussion on that? All in favor? Nays?
Say again what we're voting on?
Complimentary member language.
Okay.
Want me to read it again?
Yeah. Should always do it right before we vote.
Okay. From time to time, okay, keep me straight. From time to time, the corporation may give complimentary membership to cooperating persons. No dues shall be assessed for the category of membership. The person receiving complimentary membership shall have no right to vote, but shall be on the mailing list. That would follow right that. They could do that same thing with the legislators or whoever wants to be complimentary.
They should be separate, they should automatically just get it, they can do what they want, and then a complimentary would be like.
Okay,
people at large,
so
right?
we got that one. So 3.4, annual dues for the administration of CCA shall be as follows, subject to revision by the board of directors at any time. Individual, and since we took out household, $10. Complimentary members, no dues for current year to be approved annually.
$10 is too less. Get some skin in the game.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
We can all afford more than $10 a month.
But
A year.
Is this a month, a year, how long?
A year.
A year.
We can afford it, but not everybody can. And you don't want to keep people out because the dues are too high. You just doubled them for any family by taking out family membership. It's now $20 a year. And yes, that doesn't sound like a whole lot, but if you belong to several organizations, it starts mounting up.
And we can always pass the
I
bucket
have
for
given-
the cause.
It's offered discounts for certain conditions.
I agree. But again, we really, let's expound on that.
So I just mean like if other organizations have like, you know, a rate if you're on fixed income or you're like above over 65 or, you know, there's like discounts on anything.
That'll be everybody.
I want to kiss. I want to kiss. Keep it simple, stupid.
I agree with what was it, Joe? Like, if there's a cause that we all agree on, we'll pass the bucket.
Yeah.
And nobody needs to stand up and say, hey, I get SNAP, so I can't afford it. Hey, I'm 55, and, you know what I mean? Like,
And to actually kind of touch on all of them had said, you know, just now thinking about it, you know, yeah, you do like the $10 individual, whatever, like family, maybe it's 15 for a family. Or, you know, something of that nature. You can, you know, a little bit more, but not super a lot, but it'll cover your other members.
Well,
That's another thought.
we struck household in 3.2, so
Yeah,
that
so
would
just
be,
leave it as
we'd have to bring that back in.
Flat fee, $10.
Or does a flat fee?
I think a flat fee and pass the buck. Pass the buck. Pass the bucket.
we're a young
So,
organization,
okay, so-
we can always charge more
Yeah.
later.
What, you got,
I recommend we stay with the $10 because I can guarantee you, we've been around almost since the word go, and my wife and I have donated a whole lot more money by passing the bucket
Yep.
than we ever have to some place that
Amen.
charges.
is that a form of a motion?
Yes.
It sounds like it.
Okay,
I'm second.
so, second, okay, discussion. What?
Sorry.
Call it Just call it what you got dead.
Good job.
Okay.
So we're voting on keeping the membership at $10?
At
Yeah.
$10, that's the motion, to maintain, keep it at $10.
Second.
We got a second,
And that's per year.
comp per year. Okay, so anybody have anything you want to increase it to 15 or 20 or what's your comments?
Just
No?
do it.
Okay.
Questions
All,
called.
question to call, so $10 annual per person? Got it? Okay.
Motion passes. You need to say that
Motion
because I'm
passes.
recording it. Maybe not.
Motion passes. Okay. 3.5, the monthly meetings of the membership shall be held every third Saturday or to be announced adequately in advance of the board at Real Life Church. I do want to add, I'm gonna add to that because I did talk to CCAK Senior Center the other day. They're taking it to their board in December. Most likely, all indications are we'll be able to use CCAK on a rotating basis. So I'll be putting CCAK in there, so we'll be doing every other month. Starting, I think it's February, is what we're kind of shooting for. So we'll just be able to rotate back and forth. That way we can get that North Anchorage and CCAK and Eagle River crowd a little bit easier. I know some of you that live in Big Lake don't want to drive all the way out there. That's fine. I get that. But you can always Zoom. Okay. So, written or printed notice of the time, place, and agenda.
Mike?
Yes, ma'am.
Can I ask?
Yeah.
Someplace in there, you probably have a question about how you're going to change the bylaws, do you?
Yes.
Okay, so when you're being very specific regarding that, you know, are you boxing yourself in so tightly that it would take a change in the bylaws to be able to do that, and you wouldn't have enough time?
Yeah, we
Because
know.
right now, it doesn't look like, say you wouldn't have been able to get this building, which we came close.
Right.
And Chugach says no, and you're gonna meet down at the depot or in somebody, you know, some other place. If it's in your bylaws, then, so that's just what I'm saying, give yourself some
Okay,
flexibility.
so if we say this the monthly meetings of the members shall be held every third Saturday or to be announced adequately in advance by the board, period.
Correct. Yeah, that
And
just gives you a time.
strike Real Life Church and all that
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
stuff. That's fine.
That word adequate is like an open-ended statement. That's something that our politicians do. I talked to a politician down the other day and he talked all around it. Adequate is subjective. I think adequate is 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You
might think adequate is 2 days. So I think that needs to be specified. I mean, that's just.
Okay, so you got an idea?
72
I just said
hours.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
At least 1 week, maybe.
But most of us in here, I recognize most of these faces. I know you're busy people.
No.
72 hours.
Week, 2 weeks, 72 hours.
I don't think 72 hours.
Let's do a week.
Do a week.
I move to do a week.
Week.
Second a week.
Second, for a motion for a week
On it,
instead of adequately, to be announced.
At least
at least 1 week.
No,
in advance.
no less than 1 week.
Yes,
for now.
yeah,
You can always vote to change it later.
yeah.
Okay, so the monthly meetings of the members. Okay, so that out. Okay, so the monthly meetings of the members shall be held every third Saturday or to be announced no less than 1 week in advance by the board, period. Yes, sir.
That should be, I think, the third Saturday of every month. Every third Saturday is a revolving
Oh, okay,
day.
okay, you're right, you're right. Monthly meetings will be held every third Saturday of the month.
I like the second Saturday.
No.
Okay.
Third Saturday will be Thanksgiving weekend.
It's kind of, it's kind of, yes, I'm sorry.
Do you have somewhere in your bylaws that you can put that unless the board determines otherwise? So that you have, like Meredith is saying, you're not so boxed in. If something happens and you need to make a change, that you can and not be held to that.
Well, that's in that,
Just somewhere in the
yeah,
bylaws.
it's in that sentence in advance by the board, so,
No, that's the announcement of the
Okay,
meeting.
okay.
That's not to change it. So just somewhere in the bylaws, on the very end of the bylaws, you should say that unless the board determines something else. Because the board should have that, the board should have that freedom to be able to make a change if necessary.
You talking about the location? No.
She's talking about the scheduling of the
Being
meeting.
able to make a
However
change.
you want to do that. Be
You
allowed
made a
to
change,
make
you were not
something.
Have everybody up.
It is.
All of those are subject to the judgment.
Every little thread.
I was gonna ask you, last Sunday, if you were going to come to forgot.
We don't have it, I don't see it in here, so that should be probably in this paragraph then, somewhere in that neighborhood, So-
I think it should as well.
It should pertain to everything.
It should, because as long as you have a board that's, your good board that's going to be in place, you should be able to trust your board to be able to make changes if necessary.
Okay, so the monthly meetings of the members shall be held every third Saturday of the month, or to be announced no less than 1 week in advance of the board. In the event of emergency, the board may,
Well, it's not even an emergency, Mike.
Or-
It's just
or
if
just-
the board decides that
Decides.
there's a reason that they need to adjust the date, time, and location, they should be able to do
Will have
so,
to.
and the membership will have at least a week's notice that there's been a shift. That's what we're saying, is that the board has the authority to make that change. If you leave it this tight, then if something comes up, somebody gets hit by a bus and can't be there and you can't make a quorum, then you can't adjust your meeting.
And what happens if the location is somehow canceled on Friday before? Now we don't have a meeting. We need to notify everybody the meeting's canceled.
Unless otherwise notified.
Well, you got this 1 week notice here, so.
That's why, at least some short duration.
I know, but if you have it at least a week, and
Can
sometimes on
I
Tuesday, they gotta cancel.
go home and work on that, on the language on that.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
Some of the stuff
So-
needs to be pushed out. We're going too
Yeah.
long.
Yeah, because, yeah.
It might have to be something as general as we plan on meeting once a month, generally speaking, the third
Okay.
Saturday, but yeah, it needs to be.
A lot of
open.
this stuff, if you had an
Yeah, but
executive board,
emergencies can
you guys could just.
It's true.
We should make it last minute.
Written or printed notice of the time, place, and agenda shall be emailed or mailed to all members not less than 10 days prior to the meeting. No problem with that?
That actually would kind of cover
That's what I.
all of that.
Yeah.
Because that allows you.
7 days.
That, yeah, that would allow for, the meeting changes, both date, time, and place.
Yeah, Mike, for consistency, you probably shouldn't have a week for one thing and 10 days for the other.
So change
Yeah.
that
You
to
should
week to
have
10 days?
Either decide
Or the
7
other
or
way.
10 days, and so
I
it's
go 10 days.
consistent.
Yeah, just go 10 days. Okay.
Mike,
Yes, sir.
just occurred to me that we might be able to solve that all with one word. Regular meetings shall be the third Saturday. That way, if we want another meeting, it can be an emergency meeting.
So instead
it
of
can be
saying
a
the monthly
regular
meetings, just say regular
anything you
meetings?
call.
Our regular.
That's the one that's set, but we can
Yeah.
call others, of course.
CJ, you think that helps that?
I think if you lock it down to the day, or, you know, what type, I think you're making it too tight, because things happen.
Right.
Life happens,
That's what
and then you
I
have
said.
to make
Anything else
changes.
is just an emergency meeting.
Yeah, just the regular,
Any
but if we said the regular meetings,
They can call a meeting.
that kind of opens that up a little bit.
Like, membership meetings shall be, regular meetings shall be once a month.
Yeah.
Call everybody in the door.
That leaves it open.
Do you have a section in there that talks about regular or emergency meetings?
That's for board members, I think, more than anything else, but it doesn't state. I think it's in there,
What
but.
he and CJ are saying, you know, CJ said regular meeting. Well, okay, where's the definition of that, as well as, like, if you are gonna call an emergency meeting, some hot button, that thing that's going on down in Juneau, and you wanna get some information down there, or whatever else it could be, you need to and want to be able to hold an emergency meeting or special meeting, and I don't know if you have definitions in there.
Okay.
Bylaws for that. So
Yeah.
that might be something we want to get on.
Okay. CJ, can I work with you on this afterwards, the language on that? Okay. Because I know what time is it?
12:19.
Okay, so we're actually moving along. Let's see, so written or printed notice of the time, place, and agenda shall be emailed in not less than 10 days. General reports of the activities of the corporation shall be presented. General reports of the activities of the corporation shall, I don't know if that necessarily needs to be there. Doesn't make any sense to me when I just looked at it. Just for full disclosure, I used this from another club to kind of help us out. The officers of the corporation shall be elected. Nominations for the board may be made by any voting member from the floor on an annual basis. That annual date will start upon approval of the bylaws and the finalization of the bylaws. Those persons receiving the largest number of votes by ballot for those positions from members entitled to vote at the annual meeting shall be declared elected. Whenever one candidate only is nominated, then voting may be by raise of hands. If no nominations are made from the floor, the presiding officer may ask for a motion to vote on the entire slate of names for existing officers. Special meetings of the members may be called by any member of the board or by petition signed by 5 voting members, and the notice therein given as provided for the annual meeting, and such notice shall state the purpose for which the meeting is called. That kind of goes back to what we're talking about. So that is in here. So everybody so here's the revisions. Okay, so I'll raise for voting purposes. The regular meetings of the members shall be held every third Saturday of the month, or to be announced no later than 10 days in advance by the board. Written or printed notice of the time, place, and agenda of each meeting shall be emailed or mailed to all members not less than 10 days prior to the meeting. The officers of the corporation shall be elected. Nominations for the board may be made by any voting member from the floor on an annual basis. That annual date will start upon approval of the bylaws and the finalizations of the bylaws. Those persons receiving the largest number of votes by ballot for these positions from members entitled to vote at the annual meeting shall be declared elected. Whenever one candidate only is nominated, then voting may be raised by raise of hands. If no nominations are made from the floor, the presiding officer may ask for a motion to vote on the entire slate of names of existing officers. Special meetings of the members may be called by any member of the board or by petition signed by 5 voting members, and notice thereof given is provided for the annual meeting, and such notice shall state the purpose for which the meeting is called. All in favor? Nays? So passed. Okay, yes, sir.
Point of information, because I'm walking from one lake to another. Is there a restroom in this building? Yeah.
It's in next door to the church next door. Okay.
Thank you.
So 3.6, at any meetings of the members, the rights and privileges of the various classes of membership shall be as follows. Individual members may attend all meetings of the members, and each shall have 1 vote on all matters for the meeting. Individual members shall be eligible for election to hold office. Any problem with that? Complimentary members shall not have any right to vote at any meeting of the members of the corporation. Such persons may not serve as officers, but may serve on any committee of the corporation.
So you're saying complimentary non-voting members can serve on committees?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Not the board. Yeah, not the board. It's
Not the board, just committees.
So they can be active in it, I don't see why that's an issue. They can't vote.
Yeah. And then if the committee comes up with an actionable thing,
They can't.
they can't vote on it,
Right.
is all.
Correct.
Yeah, but they have their input.
Yeah.
Okay. So any problem with that? Okay. The majority of the voting members present at any duly called members of the meetings shall decide all matters presented for determination. If no board member is present, there will be no official business conducted.
Yeah.
Earlier you said something about a quorum. How are we gonna know?
Is there a statement in there that says you're gonna follow Robert's rules or?
Yes.
Okay, then you got the quorum in Robert's rules.
Okay. So any problem with that? Any member failing to pay dues or assessment after 3 months from the date of notice shall be automatically suspended. Yes, sir.
I would suggest you just state something like may be subject to suspension, and let those people fall to a complimentary status. They become non-voting if they aren't paid. Somebody might be snowbirding or on some global tour, and who knows what.
Yeah,
But you still want them to get the information in the newsletter.
So any member failing to pay dues or assessments after 3 months from the date of notice of same shall be
subject
Or move to complimentary status.
Shall be
Move to complimentary status until dues are paid.
Yeah.
Okay. So any member failing to pay dues for assessment for 3 months from the date of notice of same shall be moved to complimentary status, period.
What date are we gonna use for starting dues?
You already said when the bylaws are already formed, that's when the.
When we finalize that, then we're probably talking, way things are looking right now, probably December. Or we may, you know, I'd entertain changing it to January, that way everybody remembers it's January. That may be, you know, Article 4, fiscal year budget and audits. Corporations' fiscal year shall commence on January 1st of each year and shall end on December 31st of each year.
That works for me.
The programs and activities of the corporation for any fiscal year shall be conducted so that expenditures not exceed the amount budgeted. The treasurer shall submit a suggested budget for approval to the board at the first meeting of the board each fiscal year. The budget may be amended at any regular or special meeting of the board.
So I have to come up with a budget? How am I gonna know how many trips you need to make?
That would be something that we would be discussing, but we're also, I'm thinking like, you if we go with Zoom or go to meetings, it's gonna be, there's an annual cost on that. There's gonna be some budgetary.
Somebody will have to present those numbers to me, I can't.
Right, oh yeah, and this would be something that would be discussed, through, in the meeting done, okay. So any problem with that? Okay. An annual audit or inspection shall be made by an independent certified CPA or a committee of 3 persons selected by the board. I would entertain striking the CPA because I don't want to pay for a CPA. But we could do an annual audit by a committee of 3 persons selected by the board. Does that sound fair?
And maybe we'll have a CPA member.
Yeah.
But we don't need to put it in.
And the audit of
Okay, so the revised is the annual audit or inspection shall be made by a committee of 3 persons selected by the board. Everybody all good with that? Okay. Article 5, we're actually getting through this. Officers' terms, quorums, and meetings. The board shall consist of a president, a vice president, a secretary, and a treasurer. All officers shall be elected from among individual members in good standing. Yes, ma'am.
Don't you, for the state, have to have some directors for your?
They actually told me that we could do the same, the president, the vice president, and secretary and treasurer could be, it can be the same.
As the directors? Okay.
That's what I was told.
Okay, yeah. There's a line there for directors, so you need to be able to pull that. As long as they can serve dual purposes.
Yeah, that's what they said.
Because you have to note them in the paperwork.
So does that need to be in your lines where you're reading those off? Those are the officers, and board?
Officer / director.
Yeah, because right now for our, and under articles of incorporation, we have registered agent, which is myself, and then officials is myself, Terry, Tom, Julie, and then under incorporator, which would be same thing as directors, I would assume. I assume makes an ass out of you and me, but that's Mike, Teresa, and Julie.
But maybe it needs to be stated that the board members are the directors as well, or.
The officers.
The officers, yeah. Maybe that means.
The term of the, let's see, so okay, so we could change the board to, the officers shall consist, officers.
Just say board of directors.
Or
Maybe that would be.
Or the board of directors? Okay.
Shall consist of?
That way, the directors is the same thing then.
Yeah.
Okay, so the board of directors shall consist of a president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. All officers shall be elected from among individual members in good standing.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you want to identify how many board members you want in the bylaws? The boards that I've sat on and have been involved in have a number of boards that are listed.
Yeah, minimum of 3.
Like we had 9 members on
Right.
the board, and that included the officers.
You have to have at least 3 directors, I know that much, for a nonprofit, so at least 3, minimum.
Right, which we have.
But you don't want like, you don't want to end up with 12 board of directors or 24 board of directors.
Right, no.
You want to.
That's why we're just saying the board of directors is president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer.
So there's 4, okay.
Yeah,
Is there room to add other people onto the board if you want?
If the membership wanted to do that.
You can vote on that annually.
That would be a future.
It doesn't need to be in the bylaws?
No.
Okay.
We could always add that to the bylaws.
Okay.
And I would just strike A before treasurer, just so it says secretary and treasurer, because that can be one
and
person.
Treasurer. Okay, and treasurer, okay. Okay, so the board of directors consists of a president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. All officers shall be elected from among individuals in good standing.
Yep.
Okay.
Do you have in there the terms, did you read that, and I didn't hear that about terms yearly, are they?
That's coming.
Oh, coming, okay, great.
So as a matter of fact, that's the very next one.
Okay.
The term of office shall be 2 consecutive years.
Okay.
Any officer may be removed from office for cause at any regular or special meeting duly called for that purpose by the affirmative vote of 2/3 of the entire membership.
Entire membership present or entire membership total?
It would be entire membership present.
And put present on there.
Yeah.
He's present.
Otherwise, if you have 100 people and you've only got 50
Right.
people in, it doesn't count.
Okay. So, a term of office shall be 2 consecutive years. Any officer may be removed from office for cause at any regular or special meeting called for that purpose by the affirmative vote of 2/3 of the entire membership present. Okay? Whenever any vacancy of members of an office occur due to death, resignation, or otherwise, and I'm not planning on dying anytime soon, a majority of the members at the next meeting, see Article 3.7 above, shall nominate and vote for successor to serve for the unexpired term of the officer whose position is vacant. In the unlikely event that the board members need to meet between monthly meetings and emergency meeting, this is going back to what we were talking about earlier. A majority of the officers shall constitute a quorum for the transaction of business. In all matters coming before the board, unlikely event, in the unlikely event that board members, or board of director members, since we said board of directors, we have to probably add that. Shall need to meet between monthly meetings and emergency meeting. A majority of the officers shall constitute a quorum for the transition of business in all matters coming before the board. Each officer shall be entitled to cast one vote. Any vote shall be ratified by voting at the next meeting. See paragraph 3.7 as to ratification of any emergency board meetings. 3.7. The 3.7 is the majority of the voting members present at any duly called meeting of any members shall decide all members presented for determination. If no board members present, there will be no official business conducted.
So the board can call an emergency meeting of the board,
Of the
so
board.
for those 4 people
Right.
can be called, and that 4 is what determines what a quorum is going to be.
Correct.
And then you guys can vote and say, this is something we're going to do, but that is not official until it comes up at the next meeting to be voted on by
Correct.
the members.
Correct.
Okay.
What constitutes an emergency? You need to have a better definition of emergency. Somebody got a heart attack or is it
Just say
an
special meetings.
unplanned
Special-
event?
Special meetings is something that generally you use, special meetings.
You already
Any
have-
members-
But they shouldn't be an emergency.
Yeah.
It could
Could be an
be,
emergency, or could just be the guys want to get together for lunch.
what
Yeah.
constitutes an emergency?
Force majeure.
But you don't need that.
They're going hunting.
Well, that was it, that was
15
in,
inches of snow count?
an emergency meeting, that was in parentheses. Just take it out, or just take it out?
Call special meetings or
Yes,
something. Extra special meetings.
Okay, well, if we say, in the unlikely event that the board of directors members need to meet between monthly meetings, a majority of, and just strike in parentheses an emergency meeting,
Right.
a majority of the officers shall constitute a quorum, blah, blah, blah. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
That kind of leaves that, we're not, like I said, we don't want to make this so tight we can't breathe. Okay, so the final version on this is, in the unlikely event that the board of directors need to meet between monthly meetings, the majority of the officers shall constitute a quorum for the transaction of the business, and all matters come before the board. Each officer shall be entitled to cast one vote. Any vote will be ratified by voting at the next meeting. See paragraph 3.7 as to ratification of emergency board meetings.
Didn't we
No.
take out monthly and use regular?
Yes.
We did do
Yes,
that.
but we didn't, didn't we?
We did regular, so we'd have to change,
Change monthly to regular.
was it any vote being ratified by voting at the next meeting? So that was still
In the
would.
beginning of the statement, you refer to the board members.
In unlikely event that the
Between monthly
board of
meetings.
directors need to meet
In a regular, not a monthly meeting.
Outside of the regular meeting.
in between regular meetings. Okay, okay, I see what you're saying here, I see what you're saying.
You'll probably have to go through the whole document.
Yeah, okay. So everybody okay with that?
Except take the word emergency out of the
Yeah,
last part.
yeah, we did.
No, I mean the part that says things that are done during the emergency meeting are ratified at the next vote.
Yeah, that's.
You took that up.
No,
that up.
that's still in there. Want me to read it again?
Yeah, but that shouldn't be there. You've already decided the extra meetings are not emergency meetings.
You just labeled it again at the end.
And then you relabeled it emergency at the end again.
I hear. Okay. See paragraph 3.47 as to any ratification.
You're doing a good job, Mike. It's gotta be confusing up there, hearing and writing and reading at the same time, 3 different things.
Meetings. Okay, so.
Biden couldn't do it.
In the unlikely event that. So we don't use his name. It's let's go Brandon.
Sorry.
In the unlikely event that the board of directors shall need to meet between regular meetings, a majority of the officers shall constitute a quorum for the transaction of business. In all matters coming before the board, each officer shall be entitled to cast one vote. Any vote will be ratified by voting at the next meeting. See paragraph 3.7 as to any ratification. Any ratification, period. Yeah, okay. Is that okay? I'll clean up the language.
Yeah, this is gonna have to be sent out for proofreading.
Yeah, I'll have to read it. So, the annual meeting of the board shall be held upon adjournment of the December meeting. So this is about the only time that it really talks about the board actually having a regular meeting, but the board members. So the annual meeting of the board shall be held upon adjournment of the December meeting. Several special meetings of the board may be held at any such time and place as the officers may determine, as may be called by the president or any 3 members of CCA. Special meetings may be held upon 3 days written notice by the secretary addressed to each officer. Neither the business to be transacted nor the purpose of any regular or special meeting need to be specified in the notice. That sounds like a legislative gobbledygook. But that gives us the ability of the board members to call for a board meeting. Basically what it boils down to. Any problems with that? Okay. All affairs of this corporation shall be exercised, conducted, and controlled by the membership of with direction to the board as to authorizing work activities, policies, and development of the organization.
Yes.
Okay? Nobody shall receive compensation for any services they may render to the corporation, provided that each shall be reimbursed for the actual expenses incurred in the course of the corporate business authorized or approved by the membership or ratified and affirmed by the membership following the incurrence of such expenses. The only thing I'm thinking here would be, you guys want let's say me and Terry to go down to Juneau to raise a little hate and discontent with our legislators in Juneau.
Change nobody to no person. Consistency throughout.
No person?
Yeah. Nobody just sounds kind of
Okay.
colloquial.
That's the other side.
Any problem with that? Would that change to no person? Okay. Article 6, duties of officers. The president shall be the principal executive officer of the corporation, shall lead the general direction of the organization. You guys want this job? Shall preside in all meetings of the corporation and shall exercise the usual powers and functions of the office of president. The president shall report on the progress of the organization at the annual meeting and appoint to serve for 1 year all the committees and their chairpersons. The individual members in good standing shall be eligible for such appointment. The president shall be ex officio member of all committees he or she appoints. Okay. The vice president, in the absence of the disability of the president, shall exercise all duties of the president. That's a simple sentence.
She's not here to oppose.
She's on a plane right now between here in Seattle or Seattle and here, one of the two, or waiting in the process. The secretary shall give notice of all meetings to the members and shall keep accurate minutes of each such meetings. The secretary shall be custodian of all records and documents of the corporation and in general perform all duties incident to the office of the secretary. The assumption here, assume meaning, you all know what assume means, is that Sally, you'd be working with Tom from a communication standpoint and getting those emails and stuff out. Again, okay, that's good? Okay. Any problems on that one? Okay. The treasurer shall account for the funds the corporation keep all monies in the name of and to the credit of the corporation such bank or banks that as may be designated by the board. The treasurer shall at all times keep a full and accurate account of disbursements of the funds of the corporation and shall pay all accounts payable. The treasurer shall furnish an accurate account of all transactions and the financial condition of the corporation when requested to do so by the president or the executive committee, and shall present the financial report of the corporation at the regular meetings. You got any problem with that, Julie?
It only refers to disbursement, not to receipt.
Disbursement. And receipts?
Receipt and disbursement.
Yeah, receipt would become first.
Along with disbursements?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because you're receiving money from the members.
Right.
Then keep track of
What
that.
came in and what went out.
Right.
More so probably.
Ins and outs.
United States Congress.
Yeah.
Okay. So you want me to reread that?
Yes.
Okay. The treasurer shall account for the funds of the corporation, keep all monies in the name of and to the credit of the corporation, such banks or banks as may be designated. And I'm trying to read my chicken scratch. And receipts by the board. Okay, let me write.
As soon as we get a check.
My chicken scratches, I'm a retired paramedic, in case you don't know, but that's. The treasurer shall at all times keep a full and accurate account of disbursements.
Receipts
And receipts. Wait a minute, that's where this is going, okay.
Receipts
Rec-
and
The
disbursement.
receipt
Yeah,
and
receipts comes
disbursement
first.
of all funds.
Okay, I'll wordsmith that, okay. And receipts and disbursements of the funds of the corporation shall pay all accounts payable. The treasurer shall furnish an accurate account of all transactions in the financial condition of the corporation when requested to do so by the president or the executive committee, and shall present the financial report of the corporation in the regular meetings.
So when we get a checking account, how many signatures am I gonna need?
Details later, but two.
I think it's gonna be you, or me, or you, or Terry.
Okay, so we'll need 3 signatures.
Yeah.
If you're, 2 out of the 3 of.
Yeah, we'll have to do that. And I've got the paperwork from Alaska USA on what we're gonna have to do. So if that's, so we can deal with that. So everything's okay with that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Article 7. Now this one's totally up in the air from my standpoint, because I know what we've had in the past and what we've actually done. This is on committees. It shall be the duty of the membership coordinator, we don't have a membership coordinator, to stimulate interest in membership and to conduct a continuing campaign to secure members. The coordinator shall also be responsible for maintaining a record of membership and for notifying members to renew memberships, and shall recommend members to be elected. This person will work closely with the communications officer so as to add or remove email addresses and names. So this would be, I'm seeing this would be somebody that would be able to work closely with you this kind of goes to that membership list that we've been talking about. So.
Wouldn't that come more under the secretary? Doing the membership list?
Sally, we can change membership coordinator to secretary?
Yeah, I can do a lot with Jody.
Okay.
The committee chairs are to be appointed.
It doesn't.
It probably earlier, so.
Yeah, but I'm thinking that you need a separate position for that, because for a secretary or a treasurer to go out and have to be in charge of recruiting members is too much.
Yeah.
You need somebody with that as a focal point.
But you already addressed that the committee chairs are to be appointed.
Amen.
Yeah, you're
Right.
supposed to appoint.
Oh, that's right, that would be.
So this is one of the
appointed.
things that the board will be appointing
Is
this
that-
particular
Well, actually, it says
committee
the president
chair.
shall appoint, so.
Is that something that at this stage we want to just table and then come back to.
We don't have to table, he gets to appoint it once once the bylaws are approved, then he can appoint.
I'm just asking if
And
it's a
whoever's
position we
interested can
need.
tell him, I'm interested in being committee chair.
Or I could just leave it open too.
Yeah, it can be open, it
Whatever.
can be vacant, somebody, whatever. It doesn't stop the organization from moving forward.
Because you get to appoint.
But in the statement, the renew of membership then shall recommend members to be elected. We're not electing any members, are we?
No.
So, to be accepted, the membership chair will recommend that.
Oh, yeah, strike that. Yeah, that ad shall recommend members to be elected. That doesn't make any sense. Agreed, I totally
To be
agree.
accepted?
Or just scratch that whole, that whole
To take the
little.
whole thing out.
Yeah, we don't need to have a committee that's going to
Right.
be in charge of accepting, getting the rest of us to accept a new member. That's kind of,
But
yeah.
The words are here, that's why I brought it up.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm just listening to it. That doesn't make sense at
So
all.
it shall be the duty of the membership coordinator to stimulate interest in membership and to conduct a continuing campaign to secure members.
Period.
Period. The coordinator shall also be responsible for maintaining a record of membership and for notifying members to renew memberships, period. This person will work closely with the communications officer so as to add and remove email addresses and names. Okay. The program planning coordinator shall develop and invite speakers. Yes, ma'am.
Before you go on, I was waiting to see what you were going to say. I thought you said something about a communication director in that very last line.
Yeah, communications officer, which is Tom.
Right, but unless there's someplace further on where you're going to talk about what they're going to do, I don't think you have in there about what their duties are.
Communication officer not identified anywhere.
No, it isn't, because we got duties of officers. We got the president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. But we don't have a communications officer.
But you
that
want to
would
change
be-
it to communication committee, and then that gives you the right to appoint, rather than officer. Because officer sort of reflects that it would be a vote
I have
of
a
the people or
communications
something.
committee.
The membership.
Yeah.
Right?
It could be a committee of one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
So, anyway, okay.
committee. How's that?
Communication coordinator.
Or communication coordinator?
That's a good term.
It sounds like she was asking.
No, no, no.
That's
Tom. I already heard it's Tom.
But if the president is going to appoint, it should have the word committee in there. Because
Well,
that's the
but-
only jurisdiction he has.
If we go back up to the membership coordinator, it doesn't have committee in that. So
It probably should,
coordinator
it
That's
would
part of,
be.
that's part of the committee. That is part of
Okay.
Article 7, the committees.
Okay.
So just keep it committee.
Yeah.
Just as long as, give you the authority to do it.
Yeah.
I think
Okay, so it shall be the duty of the membership, it shall be the duty of the membership coordinator to stimulate interest in membership and to conduct a continuing campaign to secure members. The coordinator shall also be responsible for maintaining a record of membership and for notifying members to renew memberships. This person will work closely with the communications committee so as to add and remove email addresses and names. Okay. This is the last full page. The program planning coordinator shall develop and invite speakers to come before the membership. These speakers shall be to inform of other like conservative organizations, conservative media outlets, city council, borough assembly, and state legislators, local and state initiatives, and as needed, candidates for elected office. The programs may include information, data, advice, lectures, film, exhibits, and forums which pertain to the mission statement of CCA.
So should
That
that
should be
be
an officer.
planning committee? No. Keeping in
And you're gonna, do
Okay,
this,
again?
yeah,
planning
consistency.
committee to stay in consistency with what we just did.
We could call it a communications coordinator.
But communications needs to be a separate committee.
Yeah, we did that,
Yeah,
one, but
it's,
this is talking about.
You need to add another.
One.
but to keep.
Well,
Paragraph covers.
we want to just change the wording of program planning coordinator to something else?
I would use
Maybe.
coordinator.
Go with
And it can be
the program planning committee.
Planning committee?
Yes, so
And
you
they don't have a chair.
Right, okay.
yeah,
Yeah, program committee.
yeah, program committee.
Anybody could bring an idea to you.
Right, sure.
Okay, so
And then-
the planning committee shall develop and invite speakers to come before the membership.
Okay.
And everything else stays the same.
But now you gotta add a communication committee in order to cover that communication coordinator person. The communication committee.
Yeah, we did that.
We did that.
Well, we did have in the previous.
Where?
In 7.1.
But he's not a separate committee. He's a separate person from,
So what you're saying is we need to put a
Communication.
communications committee paragraph.
yes,
Okay, all right,
to define him.
okay.
Can I just say one thing?
Go ahead.
When I was a nonprofit, we had a communications person and a programming planning person. They weren't committees. So what was it I said earlier? Communication coordinator would be a person. Then you don't have to have, then you're not locked into a committee. I mean, it's not really a committee, it's a person.
It was covered earlier that the
Yeah.
chair gets to appoint the committee chair.
Right.
The committee chair can be
I
one
get- okay,
person,
committee of
and
one.
he will be the
Committee one.
coordinator.
But what if you want a committee?
Then write another
Like,
paragraph for the
and then
document.
you have to have somebody that's gonna coordinate that committee. Then you've gotta figure out who that coordinator is.
The
that person
chair.
that you've appointed.
The chair could be
I could, as we need to expand on that, I could do that within that committee.
I just, we always.
Yeah, oh, I agree, I see what you're saying, but that's as we grow too.
Yeah, it just.
Okay, so 7.3 is special committees may be constituted from time to time by the president with approval of the board. Such committees shall act upon special projects within the purpose of the corporation.
That's fine.
And then adding a communications committee.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Article 8, Rules of Order. Robert's Rules of Order revised shall govern the proceedings at all meetings of all members of the board. Article 9, Amendments. These bylaws may be amended by adoption of new bylaws or amended in part. To do so, any member during a regular meeting may propose a change to the bylaws. The secretary will put those changes in writing and give to the communications officer to send to the entire membership for review and voting at the next monthly meeting, not less than 10 days prior to the date of the next meeting.
And 10 days is consistent with the
And
10 days you got out
yeah.
front.
And then lastly, the last one, yay! Dissolution of the corporation. In the event of dissolution of the corporation, its assets are to be applied and distributed as follows. 1, to pay all indebtedness of the corporation. 2, to pay all expenses of liquidation. And 3, the remainder to be distributed to a nonprofit corporation in the state of Alaska and a qualified recipient entity conforming to IRS Code 501c4. I didn't change that 6 to 4. I need to change that to C4 to be used as its board of directors may direct, but solely for public purposes.
I would add in here that the distributed nonprofit corporation should be one of conservative values, not just any nonprofit, but something that was of the tone of the
board
organization as a whole.
Whatever, yeah, the board of the members should decide who that other entity is.
So they'll give it to Peter.
Yeah.
People eating tasty animals.
Yeah.
Oh, people eating tasty animals.
Yeah, that one works.
Oh, I just had a
Because you
quick
may have a
question.
board by then.
You have 4
And that's
board
why it's
members,
all-
but do you need additional board members to make a quote? You have to have a quota.
Quorum, so quorum would be
3 out of 4.
3 out of
Okay,
4.
so you don't need additional board members to, okay,
So it'd be 3 out
for
of 4.
votes or something?
So,
They really recommend that you have a nominating
that,
member. Because
so the question,
That's a good, you might want to hear that point.
Yeah,
That's a
go
good point.
ahead.
And I mentioned something, that
Yeah.
off number, I don't know.
Normally on boards, you try to have an even number so that you don't end up with a bunch of ties.
They're split.
Yeah, 4 people, like,
And
wouldn't
so-
do that,
but
3 or
that's just for
5.
your consideration.
Right.
Sergeant at arms.
We don't need four.
The tiebreaker.
Is that such a good rowdy here?
Yeah. You come up with some quick fixes.
Well, you want to add
You would go.
officers as sergeant at arms?
No, I don't know.
Or you want to do this even for? I mean, I think we're all so much agreement on everything. I doubt seriously we're going to have a. Yes, sir.
I'd like to make provisions for the 5th board member to be elected at large for the membership.
That's a good idea.
Oh, yeah, there you
A lot
go.
of boards, and we're going to bring this up, if you allow me 2 minutes to speak before he ends, about boards that we need to make a run at, so.
Yeah. So we could. So in under Article 6, we could do duties of our. So
Under your list of board
Says the
members.
board shall be consistent.
Oh, yeah, okay, so officers, terms, quorums, and meetings, the board got, so if we added, on paragraph 5.1, the board of directors shall consist of a president, a vice president, a secretary, treasurer, and
Member at large.
a member at large.
A large member?
Better bring a bathroom
A
chair.
large-
No, thank you.
It's not right for him. He's been involved in these.
Okay, so we got a whole bunch more stuff going on. So, based on all this, any additional discussion on finalizing the
You
bylaws?
did a good job, Mike.
Amen. I second that.
Yes, ma'am.
Could I make a motion that we, agree to this, that we have just gone through preliminarily,
Subject to proofreading.
subject to proofreading the final document?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So what we'll do is I'll get this typed up, printed up, and sent out, and then we can finalize it in December's meeting.
Yes.
Yes.
That sound good?
Yeah.
You gave me my marching orders. Oh, by the way, the nice thing I love about this versus the end that shall not be named is that the only people I have to report to is you.
Yeah.
I don't have to report to some jerk in Florida. Okay. Okay. So, that takes care of that. So we got that. Okay, I want to just bring up, so we're kind of running long. I didn't realize this was going to be that long. Phil, still there? Yeah.
Right back.
Oh, he'll be right back? Okay, so while he's doing that. Okay, y'all aware of what's going on with the legal attacks by the far left socialist, communist, Marxists out there against our state legislators? So,
Against all of them, or?
well, two specifically right now.
Mike Shower.
We got Mike Shower, they're coming, they're getting ready, well, we may end up having something going after against Spike, but right now we got David Eastman and Kevin McCabe.
What's going on from McCabe? I hadn't heard of it.
Okay, so, well, okay, so David Eastman, everybody's aware of what's going on with David, right? Okay. So, and then what's happening with Kevin is that because he has a personal Facebook page, so he has a Kevin McCabe Facebook page.
Yeah.
And this guy was being a real jerk. I mean, how many times we've been on Facebook and we dealt with jerks? And he tried and tried and tried to work with this idiot and finally said enough's enough, but he blocked him. This guy then turned around and sued him because he got blocked because Kevin is a city legislator. And so his contention is his Facebook page is a state Facebook page.
Did he have two separate pages, a personal page and
He
a
has,
campaign
my
page?
understanding is he has two separate ones. He
Because
has
in the
personal,
campaign page, maybe.
but he still does. Now he's still looking at $10,000, $20,000. I know David Eastman's, I think, is looking at $100,000 before it's all said and done. So Terry Lyons, everybody knows pretty well who Terry is. Terry is working with them, those two, there's an outfit called Give, Send, Go. It's a Christian version of GoFundMe. So she's working on that, so be kind of listening, kind of keeping an ear out, because they need help. They're gonna need help. And, we're kind of half expecting Mike Shower to get. I mean, it's, especially with what we're hearing with this coming legislative period, we're talking 17 senators against 3.
Yep.
And the three hardcore conservatives that are going to stand up for us is Mike Shower, Shelley Hughes, and Bob Meyer.
Bob who?
Meyer.
Myers.
So
That's why I was like,
the rest of them are they're combining forces with the Democrats and the Rhinos. So, if you want me to, I think everybody knows who the Rhinos are. So that's so I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they'll come up with some frivolous lawsuit against Shelley and Bob too. So it's something that be on the lookout for. Phil, come on up. Because this is an agenda item that I had on there as far as ranked choice voting goes. And if you don't mind, I'll sit on my throne. Oh, he's doing that.
that was not seconded, it was not motion, and nothing now. Is that in the bylaws?
So,
we need to have.
after all that, yeah, I think he can sit down.
All right, so what we got here is, so there's two things. There's this PowerPoint. I wouldn't do a PowerPoint up here, but if you want to read through it, it explains who we are, our bill initiative process, our timeline.
And who you are.
Yes, my name is Philip Bison. I work with politicians. Actually helped Rob Myers get elected multiple years ago.
Well, what's the name of the organization?
This group is actually the Alaskans for Honest Elections and Bill Initiative. And so we're actually repealing ranked choice voting. And we're not doing anything else.
Through ballot.
Through Citizens Initiative, yeah, that's right. And here's the bill. It's 33 pages long. It's as short as we could possibly make it, because that's how many things they changed. Their bill was 79 pages, ours is 33. Their big thing was dark money language. They led with the dark money language. We're not even approaching it. They can have it. We're just wanting to get rid of the ranked choice voting and jungle primary system, and that's it. Nothing else. There's nothing else in this bill. It's just that.
Will that have to wait until the 2-year cycle again?
No, not for citizens purposes. That's for legislative issues. I do want to point out, I want to go back in history.
February 17th was the date.
Okay, so I want to go back in history a little bit with you guys. So Murkowski many years ago ran in a closed Republican primary against Joe Miller, lost, ran a write-in campaign, won that campaign. This time around, she was going to have to run in a closed primary again. Because of this process, she didn't have to. She wouldn't even be on the ballot right now if it wasn't for this system. So if you guys want to get rid of Murkowski and you don't want people to get elected like that in the future, we have to repeal this, and we have to do it. And legislative offices, I've already spoke, as he pointed out, they're not going to do anything. Judicial, Supreme Court's not going to do anything. This is the only path forward. And we already have over 100 signatures that we need to do this. But we have events scheduled here today. We have one with the school government on Monday. You can invite all your friends and family to come sign. I have an event in Fairbanks with Senator Myers to do another presentation on December 30th. And then I have an event in Homer on December 4th with the Regent Life Church as well. So we've already had multiple groups come to us and they want to help. We're more than welcome. We want everyone on board with this. This isn't a GOP-led effort. This has nothing to do with the Republican Party. This is purely a citizen-ran initiative. And we have multiple committee members and lots of sponsors already interested in being on board. Plus, we have financial backing. We start off with $25,000 already spent against Lisa Murkowski and Mary Peltola for this last election. and we have over 100,000 just to get started, get us to the initiative process. So we have everything we need except for your signatures. So please, I'm going to hand these out. You guys are everyone that signs needs to get the opportunity to review this 33-page document.
That's available online?
I'm sorry, I'll just hand them out to everybody.
Is it available online?
It is not currently.
You don't have enough
This is
of
just
them?
for sponsors at this point, yep.
Now, let me, well, you got a question up here.
Yes, ma'am.
Didn't you say you have to have a wet signature, so?
Yes, I do have a signature page.
So you can't do this online?
No, ma'am, we can't do this part
I
online.
have extra copies of this, of the signature pages. if you need.
Yes, absolutely, no problem at all. Yep, and so let's go ahead and hand these out.
Hold on a second.
Are all the radio stations, or, you know, the conservative radio, Dan Fagan and Mike Carl, are they aware?
Yep, they're aware. They're doing interviews with our other members. You know who, I'm sure many people know who Jamie Donnelly is.
Yes.
So Dave Donnelly, he's the only conservative member of the school board. I also helped him get elected many years ago. His wife is a committee member, and then Dr. Art Mathias, who runs Wellspring Ministries, is another committee member. So we have some really diverse committee members from various age groups as well.
Okay.
Fairbanks.
I'm sorry?
Verhagen.
I don't think we've spoke to everybody
He's
just
up in
yet.
Fairbanks.
Yeah.
That would be a good match.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he's been on Michael Dukes.
He was just on Michael Dukes on Thursday, Elijah Verhagen.
Yeah.
And he's talking about doing this.
Yeah, and so Sarah Palin was our very first signer for the Citizen Initiative. So I know that people don't like Sarah, but we've also invited Begich, and we've invited Kelly Tabaka, and we've invited everybody that wants to sign. We've even invited Democrats, because even though they passed this under the dark money provision, we let them have that part. We believe this. I'll just be honest with you. This year, my grandfather, who's 80 years old, that was so confused by this election. He ran a business in Anchorage for 30 years, and he's a very smart guy. Never even spoke to me about elections ever prior to this year. But this ranked choice voting system is incredibly confusing. So I'm doing this for him more than anybody else. And I really want to see this gone, because we need to go back to a system that's easy to understand, and it doesn't take votes away from people and give it to people that don't deserve them.
Okay, you define sponsor?
Yes, ma'am. So you have to be a registered voter in the state of Alaska.
Okay.
That's it.
All right.
Yep.
And you get pamphlets,
Yes.
though, to have to
January, February, we'll
help
receive-
gather signatures
Yes,
is
ma'am.
the next step
Yep.
if you sign.
And that has our timeline in our PowerPoint here with that
Right.
process. So we're looking at the November 2024 election. So that would be the presidential election, have this on the ballot. And it's going to be very simply read, shall Alaska repeal ranked choice voting or remove this system from our election system?
So if this is not, if we're not voting on this until 2024, that means we're gonna do ranked choice again in
Exactly.
2024.
Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about it.
Unless we do it like, what was it,
And
Mark
that's
Begich
the
had that, got
legislative bill. I know
elected by
several
what
bills
was passed
are being
that
introduced.
election.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, and Julie's got a
Never
good point.
again.
Several bills are
What's
being
a Democrat
introduced on the 17th of February, but with the makeup of the legislature, we may or may not be successful, in which this is the only way it'll happen.
Here's let me add a little bit to this. Hold on. Let me add a little bit. There's a few things I want to make sure everybody's fully aware of. And we have this time, it's in his presentation, so we have this, they need
this with me.
three main people, which they have, and then they need 100 signatures in order to get this to the lieutenant governor. Now, Phil, I know that that was on, that the articles about this are saying that they're gonna give it to Kevin Meyer on the 30th of November. That doesn't make any sense, because the new lieutenant governor gets sworn in the next day. So I'm hoping that's.
Our goal is to hopefully have the new administration be looking at this.
Right, so that happens. So then once that is given to the new lieutenant governor, she has got 60 days to review, to make sure all the language and everything is per the rules and constitution and all that good stuff.
Then it comes back.
And then once that happens, then they're gonna be able to kick it out, so then that way we can then go out and statewide get signatures. We have to get 10%
of the last
election within 30 districts.
Yep. We have 365 days to do that. We plan to do it in 3 months.
So, here's the bottom line on this. And then once that's done, then the lieutenant governor then puts it on the ballot for 2024.
Then we get a lawsuit.
And we get lawsuits, you know, so, but here's the bottom line on this, guys. But there's something that everybody needs to understand right now, is that we know it took, that we got George Soros, we had IBEW, we had NEA, we had AFL-CIO, we had the whatever alphabet soup, extremist, liberal, socialist, communist, Marxist groups that spent $5 million shooting down a state constitutional convention that we the people can call. $5 million. The last number I heard that we used to fight it was between 50 and 100,000 at the most. So what we're going to have, so this is one of those kind of situations that when you put your John Hancock down on this today, if that's what you're doing, or when the petition comes around, that's when you know, it's like Bruce was talking about what our founding fathers did. They put it on the line. Start budgeting for some money. Because it's going, I mean, Phil's got a bunch of money, but that money is going to go through, like, and through a goose. So start budgeting for it, and then start preparing to volunteer.
I'm sorry, I just want to explain something.
Okay, go
So
ahead.
in that PowerPoint presentation, it talks about Alaskans for Better Elections. Alaskans for Better Elections is the original group that passed ballot measure 2. They were funded heavily by outside organizations. 99% of the funding that came for ranked choice voting came from outside the state of Alaska.
$7 million.
Yeah, 99% of the funding. So on that sheet, it says Alaskans for Better Elections. It's meant to describe to you who actually is behind that organization. And then on the second page, it talks about the funders. It has the people behind the organization. And then finally, on the last page, it talks about Nevada and Unite America. Unite America funded the ranked choice voting system here in Alaska, and they're also funding the Nevada ranked choice voting that just recently passed. And they outfunded our groups by 19 times in Nevada. 19 times. So they had $19 million. They only spent like $1 million defending it. So we will need this to be a grassroots effort to be effective. I just want to make sure people are aware of what the information they have in that paper.
And so we have to be ready to, when they start calling for people to help go out in the hot or the cold at Cars or Fred Meyer's or Three Bears or wherever to get signatures, start budgeting your money and your time and your effort to fight this fight, because we need to do it now. 2024 is not that far away. And once we get this thing passed through the Lieutenant Governor and out, and Edna's right, we're probably going to be looking at lawsuits, but it's going to be a fight to the finish. It is just kind of an analogy I have of mine, and I'm sure that some people won't like what I'm about to say, but I just don't give a hoot. My daddy always taught me, you never start a fight, but you were there at the end. And you fight, and you fight, and you fight, and you don't fight fair. You fight dirty. You fight to win. Now, he also said, once you got the bully down, you don't kick him. Because if you're on the ground, he's going to kick you. But you don't kick him. But when he starts coming back up for me, that's when you give him a right cross in the jaw and you put him back on the ground again. And every time, and that's what we've got to get. We got to get mentally prepared for this fight, because this is going to be a fight to the death. This is a fight to the death of our republic, our state, our nation. And we're going to have to, and we're just going to have to start saying, okay, I mean, this last 2 years, I have spent more money in campaign contributions than I have in my entire life. And so I'm fully expecting to do the same thing for this. This has got to happen. So be prepared to have that happen.
It's a nationwide movement too. I mean, there's a lot. The Unite America group, they have a list on their website. You can go look, and they're super proud that Alaska was the very first place they ever passed this ranked choice system.
Well, maybe.
Super proud.
Well,
the way Unite America has a position, that was their first win. This was their first win, is Alaska. No, not the United America group. I'm saying a specific group
This
funded.
is something that we gotta fight, because they've already got ads out touting how spectacular and successful it's been in Alaska.
His attorney,
Alaska loves it.
the main attorney for their group said that 70% of Alaskans voted for this and like it.
Yeah.
70% of voters did not vote for this.
Passed
51%.
Barely.
But it wasn't no 70%.
No, it was not. And so I do not believe it. I've not met anyone that's supportive of the
2000,
system.
what was it, 2000?
2020.
2020 votes? Okay, so next item on the agenda is we need to be able to fight for any upcoming legislation. What can we expect? I don't know what to expect. All I can expect is the fact that we're going to have an increased budget. We're going to have a decreased, if not zero, PFD. We're talking taxation. They're going to try and tax us personally.
There'll be an income tax.
They're going to go after an income tax on that. So we have got to be ready to and willing to go after these guys and go after them hard. The one person that is going to be the savior for all of this, and I believe that, I truly believe what I'm about to say, Mike Dunleavy has got the veto pen. And he will veto, he's already vetoed some of the stuff that they're going to try and pull again.
Well, he's a lame duck, so he.
And he's a lame duck, but he doesn't care. So he can do this. This is actually, because here's the nice thing about it right now, I mean, just take it politically. He doesn't have a recall going on against him. He doesn't have a 7.2 earthquake. He doesn't have China virus. Doesn't have all those things going against him right now. So he can turn around and do it now. The question is, can we block a veto override? Last number I heard, and I got this from Kathy Tilton the other day. Worst case scenario in the House, the House minority, which would be Republican, is 16. That's worst case. Best case is 21, which gives us the majority by 1. So even at worst case, at 16, we can still block a 2/3 vote to, we can still block a 2/3 vote to override a veto.
If somebody doesn't acquiesce.
If somebody
That
doesn't
never
acquiesce.
happens.
But the Senate, I think we can pretty well kiss goodbye on this. But we're going to have to fight. We also need to consider, second item, we need to consider sending people or persons to Juneau to present our organization to legislators, the governor and the lieutenant governor, and at committee hearings. I have asked this before over the last several years. Folks, we need you to be able to call.
Hey.
Carol.
Hey, quiet.
We need to be able to call up we need to be able to know what's going on, which is part of this group, to educate what's going, legislation that's going on. And we need to take that information and we need to find out when's those committee hearings happening and when are they going to have public input. We're going to have to go. You're going to have to go through and really look at what's going on this coming legislative session, and then put together a plan. Put together your 3-minute presentation, or your 2-minute presentation, knowing that the legislators is going to be run by the rhinos and the Dems. We're probably talking 2, but be able to sit down and write out a 2-minute committee hearing response for or against that. That has got to be paramount. I'm willing and able, don't want to, but I will, of going down to Juneau as many times as you want me to. That's going to cost money. And now the one nice thing is, I'm also on the Commission on Aging. Has nothing to do with this organization. The nice thing, the only reason I'm bringing that up is because February we're having our Commission on Aging in Juneau. which means we're flying down on Monday and flying back on Thursday. What I did with the previous organization is I flew down Monday morning, and I went out and I talked to legislators that morning as on that. Because then once we initiated the commission meeting, I couldn't do that. And then once the commission meeting was ended on Thursday afternoon, I hit the legislators again Thursday, and then first thing Friday morning, and then flew home. So that one will be minimal. Would be minimal cost, as far as maybe, a little bit on the hotel and food, and that'd be it. But that's something that that's what we ought to, I would like you guys to start considering, especially when we're passing the envelope. Because when we're passing that envelope, that money is going to go to, that's going to be a big hunk of that money. The other big hunk of that money is going to be I talked to 100.9, the radio station here in the valley. They will do 5 radio ads for us on a Wednesday through Friday for our upcoming meetings. So that's $150. So we can do that. I'm also in the process of talking to the folks that run We the People, or the People's Paper. They've got a radio station, 95.5. I'm in the process of finding out what they're going to want. So there's going to be that. There's going to be that cost. And then Zoom, either Zoom or go to meeting. It's $14 a month, or it's $100 if you do a one-time annual. I think it's like $140, $150 for the entire year.
Yes.
So we can do that as well. So that would be an additional cost right there. So on a monthly basis, if you guys want to do radio ads to bring in more people, we can do that. And that would cost $150. And so I already have that. I've already worked that. I've already talked to them. That's what they gave me the quote on. Don't know what 95.5 is going to do. But I listened to them the other day, and really nice guys and everything else. And there's a column in there that I did. We're going to be doing. That's the other good nice thing about that. They're going to allow me to do monthly columns about our meetings. Now, unfortunately, they come out 2 to 3 days before our meeting starts. So, but yet still, that's going to be good information. So that's not going to cost us anything. So kind of start thinking about, and I don't really want an answer right today. I'm thinking maybe we can look at this December, and we can start doing some radio ads and doing some things like that. But those are some of the things from a financial standpoint we're looking at down the line. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mike, could we adjourn this meeting pretty soon, because I've got
Yes.
things I have to do
Yes.
today, but I'm going to get with you regarding all those changes in the mission statement.
Okay.
And Julie, I'll get with you also.
Okay. And that is the last agenda item. Thank you, guys.
Can I make a note?
Yes, sir.
Mike.
Just so everyone knows, I will be at the School of Government on Monday as well, just doing a quick little 5-minute and give people an opportunity to collect signatures. So if you know of anyone that wants to sign this and get this where it needs to go, I'll be there on Monday. And then if you have anyone in Fairbanks, December 30th, don't have a location or time yet for that one, but the one in Homer is going to be December 4th at the Regent Life Church at 6:30. And there, we'll post this just all online as well.
Any final comments?
Motion to adjourn.
Second? Adjourned. Oh! Go to your local LIO, right? If you're here in the valley, go right up here to off of Wasilla, right? Get a copy of the state and federal constitutions. I can't count the number of times I thought there was something in the Constitution that wasn't there, or been told that there's something in the Constitution that wasn't there. It is free. It's free.
All right, my fellow Alaskans, thank you all for being here today. This is the very first meeting for the Concerned Conservatives of Alaska. As you can see, it was basically, or I should say pretty much all of it was about organization and being able to make sure that everybody is above board. And this is for everyone. So everybody out there, please like and share this video. This is something that every Alaskan, no matter where you stand at in the political realm, can participate in it. It does help if you do have conservative values, because that is what this group is all about, tackling the issues that are facing Alaska and making sure that we're staying on top of the priorities that are going to make sure that all of us are prosperous in the future. You can currently find this video on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook at Politadick, Conservatives of Alaska, and at Politadick Unfiltered. This will also be on Rumble within the next 24 hours, and as long as we're live, you can always find us on our website at politadick.com. And while you're there, go to our support page or our donation page and make a contribution. It is your support, your donations that made this broadcast possible to be on all of these channels at the exact same time. Your support is what makes it so that we can be where mainstream media doesn't want to be showing up to, one way or another, keeping their 30-second opinions, make sure that it's unfiltered and uncut from start to finish. That way you can make your own opinions so that you can decide which direction you would like to see our state go. Again, please like and share this video. It is greatly appreciated. And again, thank you all for being here today, and I will see you on Monday at the Alaska School of Government. Like and share.